What's up, you guys? Rasati out here in Singapore, and yeah, the energy's a little bit lower today because on tonight's Night Owl podcast, I think I have a big confession to make. So I'm sitting here looking at my Google Chromebook, and the tab has a quote on it that says, "Love more, fear less." And I feel like that, generally on a daily basis. I want to love more and I want to fear less and I want to do more with my life and make an impact and leave a legacy and all of that stuff. But I gotta be honest, y'all. I'm scared. I'm literally scared. But let me explain why I'm scared. I've chosen this path, this social services kind of path where I get to meet people and listen to their troubles. I mean, this is something I was trying to avoid since high school. When I went to school, I remember I got really close to the guidance counselor, and she was such a sweet woman. Miss Green was such a sweet woman, and she had twin boys in school with us, and we got to know everybody. It was like a big family. And even to this day, I keep in touch with her every so often through Facebook. That's the only reason I got on Facebook in the first place, is to keep in touch with family and friends and people I've grown up with. Now, lately, I've been having random people friend request me, but for the most part, I know every single one of the people on my friends list. And I remember thinking, you know what? I want to do something big with my life. And at the time when I was thinking these things and I went to her for counseling about, my life, my family, and then I also went to her for guidance about, career choices, because you're expected to sit with them during your junior and senior year to find out, which career path, which college, what major, blah, blah, blah. Make sure everything's, in order. Your grades are straight, your GPA, scholarships, all of that. So I would talk to her, and I kept in touch with my business teacher as well, Miss Sams. I love her I love her to pieces. And I remember Miss Sams was like, you should go into graphic design. You really have a head for this. And I remember being the first person to test out Microsoft Excel when it first came out. I mean, we had to, back then, we would use projectors. The old school projector that had a light that would kind of project the transparencies that we'd printed on or drew on, and it would project it onto the wall. So the teacher would sit in the back of the classroom with the projector, and she would write on the transparency, which was projected onto the wall, and we see the workings of whatever she was trying to teach. And I was the first person who got to play with Microsoft Excel to be able to print in color on a transparency and then have that project onto the screen, so it was a little more neat and clean. The lines were nice, all that stuff. I remember all those days, man. Dot matrix printers. Yeah, I'm giving away my age here, y'all. Okay, chill. Anyway, nevertheless, I was told I needed to be a graphic designer, or I could be really good at interior design. They had us do all the personality tests. They did us, the likelihood of all the things that we could be good at, our skills, all of that, right? And then I went to college and I started off as a bio major. I wanted to be a doctor. I really, truly thought I could make it as a doctor. And it's funny because up until that point, I really didn't like doctors that much. And I thought, well, if I don't like doctors, maybe I need to be a different kind of doctor. Maybe I should set the standard for myself. So I got to college with these big, stupid dreams and started taking classes. And I got all of my liberal arts education, the prerequisites for everything, the general courses that you had to get out the way. I got them out the way in the first 2 years. Probably the best thing I ever did. Got them out the way, which means all the specialization classes I had to take later. And it wasn't until I had 3 semesters to go where I realized, you know what? I've taken anatomy twice now. I've sat in a room with a cadaver for 2 semesters straight. And while I do know anatomy, I couldn't care less about chemistry. I didn't really care about botany. I mean, I do love plants. I do have a green thumb, but all of the technical I didn't care. I didn't care. And I realized the one burning question I had was, why am I the way I am? Why am I different from my brothers? Why did my mom treat me the way she did? Why was my dad never around? I had questions about why people were the way they were. So 3 semesters before I graduate from college, I'd already, like I said, finished all the prerequisites. I had enough to pick whether I wanted a Bachelor of Arts or a Bachelor of Science. I had both. And I switched majors. I went from biology to psychology, and I was like, you know what, I need to know for me. I need to know why. I want to understand. So I did all the labs. I did all of the theory. I went through, oh my gosh, philosophy classes. I had such a ball in the philosophy classes. And I was tempted to be a philosophy major, but no, that helped me. All those existential questions, all that spirituality I was raised with, I got to meld all of that together. And I went through counseling again when I was in college because I wanted to understand. And even then I wasn't sure. But I knew one thing for certain. I wanted to be a counselor, but I wasn't sure what kind. And so when I finished college, where everyone went off back home to get a job and stuff, I was like, I'm not ready. I'm not ready to go back home and be under my mom's rules and be a little kid again. And I'm not ready to go off and get my own apartment and be so responsible for all the bills and the utilities and I wasn't ready. And so I stayed on at college for another year. And in that year, I was the residence director, which means I was in charge of a dorm, all girls dorm, 108 girls under my care. And I got to know all of them, and I had a chance to teach them little things, bits and pieces of stuff that would be helpful. You know, I did mixers. I was the only RD on campus who was able to get the school's money to throw parties in our basements just to make sure that there was a social event or something for the girls to look forward to so they wouldn't get stuck in their rooms, fall prey to depression and homesickness, stuff like that. So I think I did pretty well, actually, right? And all this while I was working full-time at the cafeteria still, because that was my work study. I just continued on. And that was Chartwell's catering. I remember that. That was, yeah. That changed everything for me because I forgot how much I loved to cook. I discovered my passion for cooking in college. And then I decided to get my master's. But before that, I went ahead and got my professional human resources certification because I interned with the Bridgewater Retirement Community, which was down the street. So I was an RD at night. During the day, I had a lot of free time. A lot of the other RDs were coaches or assistant professors, stuff like that. And so I worked and fed people, and then I worked and helped write the standards of procedure for the OSHA handbook of the retirement community because I didn't have one. I know the first thing about OSHA. So all of those, biohazard guidelines. I was in charge of their CNA program, like the handbooks for all of that. It was really great. I could have become a nurse. I chose not to. But it was after I had the internship with the human resources director of the retirement community that I realized, yeah, I do want to deal with people, definitely. And I want to help them understand life and get a better idea of how they want to live or what they want to do, what their passions are. I just wanted to work with people and make their lives better somehow. And if it wasn't in the form of medicine, I thought maybe psych could help. But I know me. I'm a Pisces, y'all. Okay? I feel things so very deeply. And I knew deep down, as much as I wanted to do counseling, I wasn't sure I could handle the energy exchange of having to sit in front of somebody who has been through something horrific. And they're telling to me all the details of everything they've been through and me needing to be compassionate, which means I need to allow some of that energy to wash over me. I need to really put myself in their shoes and understand from their viewpoint what they might not have been seeing, what they may not have understood, what the other people in their story had to do with their decisions and the way they saw their choices, like all of that. And I knew in that instant that if I did something like that, it would affect me. It would be hard for me to run a house and raise a family and do that by day. It would be quite the toll. And I was sure that I didn't want to become a psychiatrist. I definitely didn't want to prescribe medication. I did not want to diagnose people. And so I decided maybe I become a guidance counselor. So in order to become a guidance counselor at the time, I had to go get a master's degree. And so I chose something that was marketable. I chose education for a master's degree. So when I finished my year of residency as a director of a dorm, I went and moved in with my then boyfriend. We'd been together all through college and we moved in together, and I went ahead and I got my master's. It was the first of a few online programs that have popped up, and I did my master's in 10 months. I mean, I worked my ass off. I finished my master's program. I was like, all right, now I can actually go into a high school and teach at the high school level, or I could even, be a guidance counselor and help them find their way. And then this thought crept into my head, like, you know what, you're old enough to be a guidance counselor, definitely, you're in your 20s, but you look like you're in high school, and I don't know that people would actually take you seriously. And so I told myself that lie for a long time, and I just left it be. I didn't go into the school system at all. I could have very easily become a teacher. I could have done all of that. I really could have, but I didn't. Instead, I ended up working at Rack Room Shoes and eventually worked in a marketing department for Kings Mill Resorts. And I did the catering and I did the F&B side. I wrote contracts. I did everything that I possibly could. I taught yoga at the spa at Kings Mill Resorts and Spa. I worked the LPGA tour That was really like, that was a highlight of that year. And I knew at that point in time that I wasn't sure I could handle all of the energy. Fast forward 17 years, a whole marriage later, 2 stepkids and a daughter later, a move halfway across the world later. And here I am doing the one thing I was too scared to do back then. But I do have the passion for it. I do want to do this work. It's really important to me because I see how it could change. I see the transformations, and it makes me feel better to know that I was able to at least let some sunlight into their lives. But here's my confession. I'm scared. Here I am in Singapore building this community of people, and I am calling people towards me. I'm letting them know, hey, I'm here for you, I'm here for you, I'm here for you. And as they tell me their stories, I do get a little invested. I mean, I don't know how I could possibly give them some sunlight in their lives without getting involved, as in actually caring. If there's a way to do it without caring, I don't want to do it anyway. That's just not who I am. But I would be completely telling a bald-faced lie if I sat here and said that I am not afraid to lose these people. And I'm not saying lose as in they get the transformation, they go on their merry way and they have a really great life. I'm talking about the people who talk about ending it all the time. And I can't take the chance that they're messing with me. I can't take the chance that they are just saying it because it's easy to say. I can't take that chance. I got to take it seriously every time. Which means it gives it a little bit more of me. It gives a little bit more of me. And I am afraid to lose these people because I do love these people. And I don't know how else to do this work. It's not easy. I've been through some of these struggles myself. I've had anxiety to the point of panic attacks, as in like I can sleep and not restfully, but I can toss and turn and kind of sleep. But when I come to wake up, I can't get out of bed because I feel like I've been stapled into the bed and I can't breathe. I can't take a deep breath in, and I'm panicking. I can't catch my breath and I can't it's hard. I know what that's like. And it took me a long time to realize that that was a panic attack because no one was around for me to ask those questions to. I did all of my work by myself. Yes, I've told you a couple times now, I've been through counseling at least 3 times in my life, and guess what? Within a couple of sessions, they turned me loose. They said, yeah, you understand. You understand what it's like to, other people have their own problems and they're doing the best they can. And, you muddled through and you made it through. And I understand you have a 360-degree view of this whole situation. You can tell me what every person was probably thinking and why they made the decisions they made. And you know what? That clarity, that self-awareness is amazing. Keep it up. You'll be fine. But still I have this lump in my throat, and still I have this aches in my body, and still I have this chronic pain sometimes. And I myself have moments where I'm like, I can't anymore. I don't have the strength, I don't have the will to go on. What is the point? But more than that, I know I have to. I was assigned this mountain because I could move it. I was given all of these things before I turned 18, because I had a story to tell on purpose. I was told to tell this story. I was told to let people know, hey, you can make it out. It will be okay. You just got to focus on the next step and the next step and the next step, and that's it. So I'm here doing the work, and I'm happy. I'm glad I'm a coach. I'm not a medical professional. I am not a psychiatrist. I am not a psychologist. I'm a counselor. I do not prescribe medication, and I will not diagnose you. I don't want you to carry that label and get attached to it. But I will teach you what you need to know. I will show you that there are other ways to see the world as it is. I will help you discover the lies that you're telling yourself and the ways that you're creating a unbreakable cycle where you go through this anger and this depression and this anger and this depression, because somehow in that cycle, that figure 8, that infinite loop, you get some of your needs fulfilled. But like I said, I have a confession. I am terrified of losing people. I have lost people all my life. And this is probably the worst possible line of work that I could have chosen for me specifically, because I have some deep-seated abandonment issues. But you know what? I'm facing my fear head on, and I am taking it one day at a time. And every time somebody smiles, or every time somebody calls me back, I feel a little bit of that burden lift. And maybe I am being selfish by doing this work, but I know that I need to. But that doesn't make the fear of losing people any less, because I'm choosing to be invested. I'm choosing to care about their stories. And sometimes when they can't tell me the story, but I know they're doing their best to just escape their lives. So whatever time they get, they come see me. They leave their troubles at the door, and they step through that threshold, that magic portal, and they come enter my living room. They sit down and let me feed them, and we joke around. And I know they're trying to entertain me, because in entertaining me, they're losing themselves in the moment, and they're forgetting their troubles for a moment. And I'm happy to be able to alleviate that pain for a little while. But for those people who are too scared to sit down and tell me what's really going on, I'm grateful that they find enough comfort to just sit around me at least. But even then, I worry. I worry about everyone who steps through that door. I worry about everyone who has my number. I worry about everyone who, I don't know what kind of courage you had to suck up from the roots of your feet to be able to call me or message me. I worry about you guys. I care. But it's because I care that I'm so scared that I might not be able to help you. And that fear is what keeps me grounded. That fear is what keeps me worried about being overly confident or telling you I have the cure for it. There is no magic bullet, you guys. There isn't. This dark night of the soul, you have to walk through yourself. You have to sit there and face your demons. And I don't mind holding your hand while you do it. I can show you where to look. I can tell you the questions to ask. But you got to do the work. And I'm scared that sometimes that work is so overwhelming that you're going to quit halfway through. And I pray you don't. Because on the other side of that fear is that freedom you've been dreaming of. But it doesn't alleviate the fear for me. I care about you guys. I worry about you guys. I'm grateful that my heart is broken 1,000 times in my lifetime, because every time it breaks, it stretches a little bit back. It mends a little bit. The scar tissue is a little more pliable. I have more room every time my heart breaks. Not that I want any more, by the way, but I make more room every time my heart breaks. And it does break when I hear your stories. And it does hurt me. But I know that if you have nowhere else to go and you've come to me, that I need to give it my all. I need to put in 100%. It matters. When I tell you your problems are big to you, I'm not saying, oh, well, everyone else will think they're small. That's not what I'm saying. They're big to you, and that's all that matters. Period. That is the end of the statement. Your worries are big to you. Your cross is yours to bear, and it is heavy to you, and that is okay. And that is why I take you seriously. It's not a competition about who's been able to bear the most pain. It doesn't matter how much you can or can't bear. It's there. You feel it. And that's all that matters to me. If this is your perception of the world, it's my job to show you how you can let go of some of the things that really don't belong to you. And you can put down some of those things that are obviously just dragging you away from your goals and your dreams. They're dragging you backwards. I will continue to do this work. I hope I always start again. I may tell you, you know what, I quit. But usually the next sentence is, I'll be back tomorrow. Because I'm determined. I want to help. I want to cast a little more light into your world. In order to do that, though, I have to take some of your darkness, and I'm okay with that. I'm not worried about that part. But I do worry that you will give up, and I'm hoping that as long as I don't give up, you won't give up either. That's what I pray for. That's what I really hope. So for those of you out there on the fence about whether to continue with your life or not, please hear me loud and clear. I'm around. I'm here to listen. I know the darkness you're facing. Maybe all the details like you have specifically, but I know that darkness. I do. The nothing. I know that. I know that feeling really well. And I'm hoping you just reach out. I'm reaching out towards you. I'm hoping you just reach back a little bit so I can help. If you have any questions, you know what to do. And in the meantime, you will be okay. This will pass. But only if you let it. And that has to be your choice. I love you guys. Good night.